All right, so we're jumping all the way back to chapter 1. So after spending some time in conic sections in chapter 11, going all the way back to the beginning where we talk about circles. And so circle technically is a conic section, so we could have put it with that, or the author of the textbook could have put it in there. Um, but here, we'll go back to chapter 1 and look at this. And this section actually covers a lot more than what we're going to talk about here. But we're just focusing on the circle part. And so everyone knows what a circle is, at least you can identify one. The geometric definition of a circle is it's the set of points that are a fixed distance from a fixed point, which would be the center of the circle. And so it's an ellipse. You think of it as an ellipse. If you want to mathematically go back to 11.2, mathematically it's an ellipse where the A and the B are the same. So with an ellipse where you had just the one centered at the origin, x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. With a circle, a and b are the same, and then multiply this equation across by a squared, and you'd have a squared over here. So that would correspond to this standard form of the circle here, where it's centered at the origin, x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r squared is the radius. And then if you want to talk about a circle that's centered somewhere else, this would be familiar when we talked in 11.4 with the shifted conics. So the center would be HK, and then the radius would be R. So a lot of similarities with the ellipse, but a little bit simpler because we only have the radius to really worry about. So this first example, find the center and the radius of the circle. X plus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 9. So we have the center. Just change the sign on these two. So we have -4, +3, and then the radius is the square root of 9, or we could just write 3. It's very basic, nothing too complex here. All right, next one, find the equation of a circle with radius 3 and center 2, 5. And so all we'll do here is change the sign on these two. So x minus 2 squared plus 5 plus 5 squared equals 3 squared, or 9. All right. So now this one, sometimes this next example could give people some trouble. Here we have the circle, or find the equation of the circle centered at -4, 6, passing through -8, -7. So usually, sometimes that will give people trouble. We've seen these before. I don't remember if it was the hyperbola or the ellipse, but one of these, maybe in the ellipse. We saw these. And so let's just start with our equation, standard equation. And then you can at least see what you're looking for. So we already know that. So this is h, and that's k. So we have x plus 4 squared plus y minus 6 squared equals r squared. And then whenever you have a problem, really any type of equation where it passes through a point, you're going to plug that point in for x and y at some point. And so that's what we'll do here. So just plug these two in for x and y. So we have -8 plus 4 squared plus -7 minus 6 squared equals r squared. And so we have -4 squared plus -13 squared equals r squared. So then that's 16 plus 169 is r squared. So that means r squared is 185. And don't really have to worry about, we're just looking for the equation, so we don't have to worry about what r is. Obviously square root of 185, but as far as what we need, we don't need that. So answer would just be yeah, so the main thing when you have a find an equation and then they give you a point that it passes through, always plug that point in for the x and y. Once you kind of get the other, so normally with an equation you're going to have, when you're finding the equation of a line or a circle or whatever it is, you have a few constants that you need to plug in, and so then you plug those in, and then you're usually left with another one, and that's where you plug those in for x and y. All right, and then the last example show that this represents a circle, and so let's group the x terms together and let's group the y terms together here. And so what we're going to have to do here is complete the square. And so we talked about this in the last 11.4 video. So complete square on those two, complete square on those two. So x squared plus 4x plus something to complete the square, and then y squared minus 6y plus something to complete the square. And then we're going to add both of those over on this side so the equation stays equal. So divide this one by 2 and then square it. So that'd be 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Divide that one by 2 and then square it. So -6 divided by 2, -3, and then -3 squared would be 9. And then we're going to put the 4 and the 9 over here. And so now we can factor that. We can factor this. And so this one factors to x plus 2 squared. And this one factors to y minus 3 squared. And then what's 4? -12 plus 4 plus 9 would give us 1. And so if we want, it doesn't ask for it, but if we want, the center, of course, is -2, 3, and then the radius is 1. So, but that's the part that we're looking for there. All right, so pretty simple section compared to some of the other ones we've done recently. But if you have any questions, let me know.